there, Shawna Karrasch here with another Ask Shawna answer. This one's from Tania, and she says, could you please give me some tips to help my horse who is very afraid of the clicker? I think she thinks it's an electric fence zap. I just started the training with my 2-year-old Icy and loves it and is doing very well. It's very exciting. Thank you so much for what you're doing and all the free advice. My 17-year-old Canadian mare, my trail horse, is the one that is fearful. She touched the float right away the first time. When I reinforced with a clicker, she just out of the stall and wouldn't come back for a good 15 minutes. Now if I bring the target out, she leaves. I'd love to do some target training with her, so any advice on how to help her would be very much appreciated. Thank you, Tania. Yes, okay, so this is not an uncommon thing that for some horses, I had one and I thought it was exactly the fence zap that he thought it was. He was terrified of it. And that was the first one that I saw that with. And of course that was 20 years ago now. But it was, what I found is but I still want the clicker. I personally like the clicker. You can use other things. I like it because it's loud. My horse was a jumping horse who had learned to stop, and we were going to be doing things like cantering and galloping and across a paddock. And so I want that loud noise to be able to be heard. But even further than that, I don't want to know that there's something in their life that causes that much fear. You know, so I mean, that's a sound. That means he's terrified of the fence or of an electric fence. Or if he heard that sound at another place or another time or heard it from another horse, I don't want that fear to reside in them. So sometimes I don't deal with those things right away. Clicker training I do because it's the clicker. But there's some things I may determine and think I need to address that so I can help him to have either better coping mechanisms or realize this is safe and not such a strong fear in there. So I definitely want to unpack those kind of issues when I find them, when it's ready. Sometimes they're not ready yet. But as a case of the clicker, what I found really helped is and it's a great time of year for this, if you're in our part of the woods, which I think you are with a Canadian warm blood, is in your pocket. So I muffle it as quiet as I can. So it is a little tick that comes out of my pocket. So it is muffled. I have it squished up in my hand. I have it in my pocket. If it's summertime, I put it behind my butt, kind of that area where the butt hits the leg, which it didn't used to. But I smush it back there. So it's very quiet and I can muffle it against my leg and kind of have it, you know, in that fold. But anyway, so any way we can that we can muffle the clicker at first so it doesn't sound quite so loud and tinny, or getting a quieter clicker, because there are some, I like loud clickers because of the nature of working across a paddock or over cantered or a gallop or whatever we're doing. There are ones that are much quieter, but they're still going to have that same tinny sound. So I found the best thing is muffling it, and I found within a number of days, and I do less of it. So knowing that the clicker has an aversive quality at that point, that sound does, I will muffle it so it's really quiet, and I click, and I may do it like 3 times and dump a pile of food. So they're like, oh my gosh, actually that sounds pretty good. So you're counter conditioning it and systematic desensitization right away. And so pretty soon, within like that first horse, I always think of him as the one that really taught me that this was a thing, because back then there weren't clicker trained horses. And I found that if it was 2 days. And he loved that clicker. You know, I could have it out loud. He didn't care at all. But I brought it out slowly and let it be a little bit noisier. And the key is take the time it takes. So don't go too fast. If she's kind of getting right into it, you can try. If it's too much, you muffle it. But go in gradients, you know, instead of completely unmuffling it. Maybe it's not dug so deep in your hand, but it's just in your pocket normal. And then if that's going good, you slowly bring it out and build that up. But they're the test. I mean, they're the ones that give us all the information and tell us if we're ready or we're not ready. So I think that is really an important part to consider, that we want to do it at their pace. So I don't care if one horse did it in 2 days and one did it in 15 weeks. You know, it is what it is. It is their individuals, and they're going to tell you what they need and when they're ready for it. So I think that will be a really important component there. Now, one of the things I do recommend too is only the clicker at first. I don't even do the clicker and target at first. I just say it's the clicker. Just the clicker, just get used to the clicker. And there's a reason for it. I mean, there are situations. I've worked with horses who literally want to kill me. You know, they want to kill the humans. And in that situation, I go to a target right away. So I'm like, you go to that so I give them a place to focus. That's a different scenario. But typically, I want to have it where I'm just doing the clicker. Because if I do the clicker and the target, we have two components that are new and unusual, but they can be thinking more about the target and less about the clicker. So I want that clicker conditioning to happen with nothing but the clicker. So the clicker is the only piece they're hearing. It's the only new part in that scenario, so it draws more attention to it. It can become kind of white noise, and they will get conditioned to it, but it can become kind of white noise as they're thinking about another component. So if I just have the click and the feed and the click and the feed and the click and the feed, they're like, that thing that I hear is significant. So I would break those down to two pieces ideally. So that is something to keep in mind. And then when you go to the target, when you go to the target for this horse who's been worried about the clicker, because this is another thing I've learned from plenty of horses now that has been kind of startled by the clicker sound. Okay, now that tells me the horses tend to be on the side of a little more vigilant and worried. So what I do with them, I will then, when I bring the target out, I know that they may be worried about the target as well. So you may have the pile of the two. So now the target represents that scary fence zap sound. And so now you kind of can poison the target. And so you don't want that. So now I know that when I've had this horse really sensitive to the clicker, the target they may be sensitive to the clicker too. And frankly, sensitive is not a bad thing. It just means we need to deal with it respectfully and go, okay, I get it. But the really sensitive horses tend to learn very quickly because they're busy taking in all this information. So when I hold let's say this is the target, this is my mouse. So I hold the target out and they look at it, and at first they may be like, oh, no, 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 no. I will take this at first. You know, if I see them just even start to look at it, I go, yep, that's the idea. Just look at it. And I click and reinforce that. And I may even muffle the clicker again a little bit because now you have two pieces they're trying to keep. Hopefully the clicker's really been strong, but sometimes then they start, look at this, and then they hear that sound, you know, and that, so go back and it's even looking at it and then reaching towards it and then reaching towards it. I click them a number of times before even having them touch it. So as they start to kind of look at it, and then they start to go, and then if they start to reach, I say, good enough, I like that, I like that, I like that. I don't have them even touch it right away. I make sure they're on the way to realizing that it's safe and it's good. So that's just a little piece to keep in mind as you move to other kind of worrisome things. So we want the target to be their best friend and the clicker to be the best friend. And if the clicker hasn't clearly been conditioned all by itself, we don't always know what they're thinking and what the value is. And it is that repetition, the classic conditioning, that gives a clicker the value that turns it into the conditioned reinforcer. So take the time, separate the pieces, I would suggest anyway. You can do it any way you want. I've just found if I separate it, I know that I've worked on that, and that now really does hold the value that I think it holds, because sometimes we can assign it a value when maybe it really doesn't have one. Okay, Tanya, I hope that helps you out. If you have more questions as you go along, please don't hesitate to reach out. Send them to you know where. You go to my on-target-training.com. That is has those hyphens in there. Or you can search Shawna Karrasch and it's going to come up. But that you can go there, and on there's a link that has the Ask Shawna, which you already know because we have a question, has the Ask Shawna questions and links, and it also has YouTube, and it has which is where we post these, and then it also has a podcast. So if you haven't listened to my podcast yet, it's called Equine Clicker 101, and it's a great way. I've covered lots of subjects, and I just keep going. Going to be recording a couple today, and as we just keep going, it helps to walk you through some of those pieces or remind you of things. Sometimes you have to go back, and I'll tell you, there's nuggets in each one that you can take to other lessons. Anyway, you know probably a lot of that, but some people don't. So that's for you or anybody else listening. All right, Tanya, until next time, enjoy getting your horse on target. Bye.